What's up, y'all? I'm going to start a new series. It's going to be part half of another existing series, but this is going to be specific to something else. I'm doing a Hemi build. There's some context. The 318 in the truck a little while ago. I was having some oil pressure problems and some other little problems, but the camshaft, the cam bearings, and a couple other things just ate themselves alive due to no oil. So I'm using this to replace it. This is a 5.7 liter Hemi of a 2006 Chrysler 300C. Um, so it's not the greatest engine that I could use. I would prefer either the 6.1 or the 6.4, but those are too expensive and kind of harder to find, especially in the junkyard. I picked this one up at LKQ or Pick Your Part over in Daytona, and I paid a little over $700 for the engine and the engine cover. Um, so I think I got a pretty good deal on it because they literally just only sold it as the engine and the engine cover. They didn't get me for the throttle body, the wire harness, the all 8 coil packs, water pump, balancer, border mounts, which I'm not going to use, the exhaust manifolds, flex plate, all that stuff where they could really nickel and dime me. They didn't. They just said, all right, we'll give you a deal. We'll give you the engine and the engine cover separately. So that's pretty much how that worked. I was originally going to try to find a motor that was already pre-pulled, but everyone wants a ridiculous amount of money for this. Now, there's some people that want like $1,200 to $1,800, which is about right. But you get them people that want like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 for was essentially a junkyard motor. And you technically get they have these on sale. I don't know if it's still active, but some places have these on sale for $5,500, brand new crate motor that comes with everything. So, I figured I'll just get the $700 junkyard motor and be on my way. Now, there's risk involved in that. You don't know the vehicle's history. You don't know how well the motor's been maintained or whatnot. But, that's the gamble of it. LKQ / Pick It Apart has a 90-day warranty on it, so I'm going to strip this down to the short block, more or less, because I want to do a couple things with it. Specifically, this is an NDS engine, multi-displacement system. I think that's what they call it. It's basically the zone of deactivation thing. Those tend to cause issues, and I want to get rid of that. There's just like little 4 solenoids underneath the intake and like special lifters that you gotta change out, and then I think the camshaft too, which leads in. I want to do the camshaft on this thing. I want a mile cam. I don't want anything too crazy. This is going to be a street engine. It's already making a lot more power than what the old 3.9 liter V6 that the truck originally had back in the day. And it's also going to have a lot more power than the 318 had when it was stock. And it's going to have a lot more torque than what the 318 currently had before it blew up. And it might have a little more top end horsepower. It's definitely going to probably have a little more RPM too. These things tend to rev up pretty high in comparison to the old school motors. What makes it a Hemi is that the cylinder heads, they're kind of like a bowl shape, like a hemisphere. So they're kind of like a bowl shape. Not quite on the modern Hemis, definitely the older Hemis like the 426 did. But yeah. So that's what made these specifically a Hemi. And of course, it's a trademark name by Chrysler, Fiat, whatever. Pretty much what I'm gonna do with this engine is I'm gonna strip it down to the short block. Like I said, I'm gonna put all new gaskets in it, so new valve cover gaskets. This one was leaking a little bit of oil into this. I think it was this spark plug. when I pull the spark plug out so I could turn the engine over, because this thing makes a lot of compression. There was a little bit of oil on it. Nothing too big, nothing too bad, but that's something I want to address. I want to change the manifolds off, because these manifolds tend to crack or snap the bolts. So I'm gonna put a nice set of stainless steel manifolds on there. I want the long tube manifolds that they sell for these engines to swap in the truck, but it was a little too expensive, especially considering this is going to be mostly stock engine. I'll probably do a water pump on it. I don't know. Probably put a cooler thermostat in there. I think these are 195s, 185s. So I'm going to put like a 170, 160, 170 in there. But a different traditional thought about it on this. I could get the drive-by water one to work, but yeah, that connector's broke. So I'm going to get a traditional throttle body for it. You could modify these to work with the traditional throttle. I don't know how to do that. Don't know how to do that. And even then, I don't want to open this up and mess with the things inside. Might get a new hallmark balancer. They're not too expensive. This one's not too bad. It's not cracked or anything like that, but make it look a little fresher. Definitely might want to paint the block. The black's cool, but I think either the Chrysler blue or the Hemi orange will look really nice in the truck, especially considering this is a Hemi. I gotta convert this to stick shift, because I'm using a NV3500 HD that I have in the truck currently. At least for right now, it's not the best option, since the 318 was already pushing that transmission pretty hard. This is definitely going to be well over the specifications of that transmission. But I think as long as I baby it, it'll be alright until I get the money to put a much better transmission in there. Either a TR, not TR66, but a T56. I already got the swap mounts for it to fit in the truck. I gotta get a new power steering pump that stayed in that was smacked. The car this came out of was in the front end collision. I believe the driver ran into the back of a semi because it was damaged more up top, not really the bumper. So the power steering pump got damaged, which I wasn't going to bring it anyway because I didn't want to pay extra for it. Needed a power steering, not the AC compressor, or at least a dummy pulley for now. That way I could put the accessory drive on. They get a new tensioner that also got damaged. And I need the alternator, which I might need a relocation kit, because I believe the alternator gets like really close to the frame rail on the Dakota. I think the relocation kit brings it up just slightly. Probably going to do an EGR delete. There's two versions of this engine, with and without the EGR. I'll end up getting the one with the EGR valve, which is not too bad. Looks like it's just the bolt from right here on the side of the head, and you put like a plate on top of it with the gasket to block it off. Yeah, get a plug for up here. What else? I'm keeping the stock this intake. This is one of the best of the 3 intakes that are available for these engines, at least in this generation. You got the truck intake, which is pretty good. Makes about similar horsepower numbers, but believe it or not, it makes less torque than this intake. This one makes a little more low end torque, believe it or not. And then you got the SRT intake, which is the aluminum one, that makes a little bit more horsepower. I think a little bit less torque than this one, but they're way too expensive, and it doesn't have all this PCB crap on it. Probably going to use the stock injectors. Probably see if I can clean these out, get these working. There's a bit of some bad gas in it. I'm gonna have to clean out the fuel rail. I grabbed the harness. I'm not using the stock Mopar harness, PCM. I just wanted the harness mainly for all the connectors I need. I got the coil packs on top of my toolbox. They all seem fine. They came out no problem. When I pulled the engine, there was a lot of clean coolant in it still. It spilled over inside my car, but it is what it is. So I believe this in the car this came out of was really well maintain. Because even the interior of the car, I did not want to mess it up. When I took all like the stuff out for inside the car, I didn't want to mess all the interior up for someone else that wants it. But it was almost immaculate. I think it had a little sag in the headliner, maybe one crack in the center console. So yeah, I have a feeling this is probably owned by an older gentleman or woman, older person, and they buried the car until they either didn't pay attention to what was happening in front of them or whatnot, and they ended up totaling the car. Um, Also, I'm gonna swap out that oil pan. I love the aluminum oil pans just because they're a little bit lightweight, and on the Hemis they are kind of structural. As you see, that webbing bolts up to the transmission. I'm gonna have to swap it to a rear sump truck pan, just because it'll fit the Dakota better. I theoretically could get that pan to work, but it'll be really close to the power steering rack and my inferior one of the lines on it. So I'm just gonna nip it in the bud and put a rear sump pan on it. So yeah, that's pretty much the introduction to this. To drive this engine, I'm debating whether to keep the micro squirt in the truck, but I'm really heavily considering putting the MS2 on it because I know that will run the injectors and the coils no problem. It should run the variable valve timing on this thing as well. Theoretically, I'm going with the traditional throttle body, so I don't need to worry about all that other stuff. So yeah, that might be it. What I'm doing with that. Not quite sure. There's also the MS3 Gold, which is probably the better one to use on this. It's more optimized for this. There's also the Terminator kit's almost plug and play. Those are probably the best option for this, honestly. I think those might be a little bit on the expensive side. And there's also the Fuel Tech stuff I could probably also do because the Fuel Tech, the ECU is the dash as well, so I could put a digital dash in the truck. But I don't want to do that. I want to keep with the sleeper status, you know what I mean? Matter of fact, I thought about putting the Hemi badges on the truck where the V6 badges are. But I was like, nah. I'm just going to keep the V6 badges on it. That way, it looks like a stock truck on the outside. When you pop open the hood, you can see all that. So, anyway, kind of rambling on a little bit. The cylinder heads, I'm pretty sure these are pre-Eagle heads, so these are the ones that have the problem with the valve seats dropping when the engine gets a little too hot. I may or may not change them. I don't know if the other heads are compatible with this intake or not. I mean, this intake's plastic, so I might be able to just like drill a hole and make them work, but I don't know. I think they could sell them with both patterns. I'm not quite sure, honestly. I did pull the valve cover off right here briefly to see it on the inside, and it looks spotless on the inside. There's no sludge in it. There's no varnish. Well, a little bit of varnish from it sitting, but there's no like varnish that you see on an engine that's never been maintained. There's spotless in there. The spark plugs all look fine. They all look the same. As you can see, they definitely need to be changed. Don't really want to focus on that one, but they definitely need to be changed. But nothing crazy. What's crazy is the 16 spark plugs, but no big deal. I believe the stock spec is platinum plugs on these, but I'm gonna see if I could probably swing a set of iridium. That way I don't have to worry about the plugs ever again. Just throw them in there. They go for like 150,000 miles, and then I should be good for a long time. The plugs will probably outlast the truck at this point. To get this in the truck, like I said, I got the bounce for it already. I may have to do something to the brake booster because I believe the stock brake booster in the truck gets like that close to the valve cover, and it will work. But trying to see if I have a problem with this coil pack, see if it goes out. It's gonna be a pain to get out with it inside the truck. So I'm gonna experiment with different size brake boosters, like the dual diaphragm ones. I've noticed that they kind of stick out a little bit further, but they're a lot smaller. Speedmaster has one that seems pretty good. I think Summit has one too, but I think it's just a rebranded Speedmaster one, and it comes with the master cylinder too. So options right there. There's options everywhere for pretty much everything. So yeah, I can't wait to get this going. It'll be over time definitely. I think the first thing I'll order for this thing is the MDS Elite Kit. That way, I get that out of the way. Then probably also the gasket kit, the full gasket kit. That way, I could change all the gaskets in it. Which I believe the MDS Elite Kit comes with most of the gaskets I want to change anyway, because you gotta pull the intake off, the valve covers, the heads, the water pump, front tummy cover, the oil pan. You know, I think so yeah. So anyway, I also kept the heater hoses, because these I think should line up perfectly fine with the truck. I just want to change these out to the regular, like a regular straight fitting, union fitting. That way, I don't have to worry about these hoses getting in the way. Just gotta figure out which one's for what side, like up, in and out on both this and the truck. My guess is something like that. Well, maybe something like that. So this one should be in and this one should be out. But either way, they should line up perfectly fine. So that makes that easy. That way I at least have defrost in the morning. Unlike all my other cars that don't have defrost. And eventually I'll get the AC working on it. That's going to become a challenge, but I'm up for it. Well, anyway, I'm going to let you all go. Hope you are excited about this process as I am. And y'all be safe, have fun, and see you in the next video.